In Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7, Darth Maul tells Ahsoka that he had a dream about Anakin basically turning to the dark side and Order 66. But what if both Maul and Anakin had these dreams? Let's get into the story right now. Our story begins on both Urbana and on Mandalore. On Urbana, a battle of the Outer Rim sieges is set to truly take place in the morning. But for now, Anakin Skywalker is getting some much needed rest after nearly a year in the Outer Rim. Sleep was hard to come by these days. And over on Mandalore, former Sith Lord, now Crime Lord, Maul rests as well. He's been gathering many crime syndicates together to form his own crime empire eventually. But as always, the thing at the forefront of his mind is revenge. And on this night, the Force is in constant motion, and it gifts a vision to one dark side user and one light side user. Maul and Anakin both soon begin dreaming, and they see a shadow clouded by darkness wielding a red blade. Swinging it around as unknown Jedi are killed, their blades blink out. A sea of 10,000 lightsabers quickly begin blinking out as the sound of blaster fire and clone commands fills the air. And a raspy, distorted voice tells a kneeling Anakin Skywalker that he will make a truly great Sith. Laughter filled the air, and the final thing both Maul and Anakin saw in their dreams were somehow their own two blades locked against each other. And both Maul and Anakin would sit up in their beds as they woke up in a confused sweat. Aboard the Republic Venator, Obi-Wan was also awoken, and he looked over to Anakin, asking if everything was alright. Anakin shook his head, stepping out to go for a walk, saying it was just a bad dream. Obi-Wan knew when to let Anakin figure out his own stuff, and so he let Anakin go and then went back to sleep. Anakin remembered everything that he just saw, but none of it made any sense. The death, destruction, the pain, a mysterious Sith, and it all ended with Maul. Why, he wondered. It didn't make sense, and Anakin wouldn't sleep again that night, but soon he was able to brush it all aside as the Battle of Urbana was beginning. But on Mandalore, Maul began escalating his control over the system with one goal in mind: lure Anakin Skywalker here and kill him. It was clear from his dream that his former master, Darth Sidious, needed Anakin in order to complete his plans. So Maul decided he would get revenge on both Kenobi and Sidious in one swing by killing their student. Time would go by in battle on Urbana and in preparation on Mandalore, with Maul closing his fist on the people so hard that civil war became inevitable. And eventually, Ahsoka Tano and Bo-Katan would arrive above Urbana, asking Skywalker and Kenobi for Republic aid on Mandalore. Maul has taken over, and he must be stopped. Both Ahsoka and Obi-Wan immediately noticed Anakin's sudden intrigue when Maul was mentioned. This was very odd, as the two of them did not have much history at all. Anakin would quickly decide he had to go to Mandalore. Maul was in his dream of destruction. He had to find out exactly why. He would tell the others he would go, but he had to do it alone, without Obi-Wan or Ahsoka. Both of them looked at Anakin like he was insane. Why would he want to go alone? But Anakin, in perhaps the most serious tone he'd ever held, told them to trust him. Obi-Wan shook his head, but he ended up agreeing. Anakin was a Jedi Knight and hero of this war. He had to be trusted. Anakin would thank them, and he prepared the entire 501st for departure to Mandalore. All of them knew that this went against Republic treaties, but Anakin justified it by saying that a former Sith Lord was in control of the system. That gave them enough precedence to go there and take him down. It wasn't exactly true, but it helped calm Obi-Wan's mind a bit. And within the hour, Anakin and the 501st blasted into hyperspace with Bo-Katan to Mandalore. And minutes after they left, alarms would begin to blare in the Venator that Obi-Wan and Ahsoka were still in. Cody would quickly inform them that Coruscant was under attack, and Chancellor Palpatine has been captured. Obi-Wan ran to the communications table to find Yoda and Windu waiting for him. Both of them had tattered robes and were breathing heavily. Clearly, they were just fighting in a huge battle. Windu said that he needs Skywalker and Kenobi to go and rescue the Chancellor. Obi-Wan clearly looked flustered as Yoda asked what was going on. Obi-Wan told them Anakin just left for Mandalore, and Windu was clearly extremely disappointed. But there was no time for anything except for action. He asked Obi-Wan and Ahsoka to come back anyways, fight in the battle above Coruscant, and he will try to rescue Palpatine instead. Obi-Wan agreed, and Ahsoka said she would come as well. Anakin would hear of this battle above Coruscant as he was in hyperspace. He felt extremely worried for Palpatine and for Padme, but he knew that all he needed to do was figure out what his dream was about. He could figure out the rest later. And so, as the Clone Wars surged on across the galaxy, Anakin Skywalker, Captain Rex, and Bo-Katan led the charge into the Siege of Mandalore, quickly starting a new civil war. Bo had many Mandalorians on her side, while Maul had his own loyalists in battle. Many hours would go by in battle, with Anakin just narrowly missing Maul time and time again, as clones and loyalists fought those loyal to Maul. And finally, Anakin would have a solid lead, as he was informed that Maul was in the palace. But a bit ago above Coruscant, Obi-Wan and Ahsoka joined the space battle, aiding many Jedi that were led by Saesee Tiin in the air assault. And so, while the Separatist forces were heavily distracted, Mace Windu and Kit Fisto were able to infiltrate the Invisible Hand flagship, discover through the ship logs that Palpatine was being kept prisoner in the spire up top. So the two of them would make their way through the ship, and soon they would find Palpatine. When Palpatine saw them, his disappointment was immeasurable. His day was basically ruined. This was supposed to be the moment that Skywalker saved him and used the dark side to kill Dooku, but something drew Anakin away. Now plans would have to be altered, and as the Jedi went to save Palpatine, both Dooku and Grievous entered the room. Upon seeing Windu and Fisto in the security cams, Dooku would call upon Grievous to help kill these Jedi. Dooku ignited his red blade, while Grievous pulled out his 4 blades, and Windu would look to Dooku, while Fisto moved over to Grievous. Fisto told Grievous he's been hoping for a rematch, and Grievous said that this battle will be his last, and the two of them began fighting. On the other side, Windu looked to his old friend like he was dead. Long ago, Dooku and Windu were very close, despite their many disagreements. But now, Windu blamed Dooku for the trillions that have suffered in this war. Windu's biggest regret in his entire life was not killing Dooku on Geonosis when he had the chance, even if it would have cost his own life. And he knew today he would not make that same mistake. So Windu moved in. He and Dooku would clash their blades together, with years of history echoing between them. Both of them deeply wanted what was best for the people in the galaxy, but they saw the galaxy in completely opposite ways. Grievous would slam his 4 sabers down at Fisto, and he blocked them all. Grievous laughed as he disengaged, spinning his sabers around across the floor, then swinging all of them at different times. Fisto would sidestep, duck, and leap over all of them, but the droid general yelled in anger as Fisto cut off one of Grievous's hands. Then he crawled across the floor, grabbing Fisto by the leg, throwing him hard into the far wall. Fisto would quickly get back up, reigniting his saber as Grievous stabbed towards him. The blade went right into the wall as Fisto spun away, cutting another hand from Grievous, telling him he will have to do better than that. While their chaotic duel went on, Windu and Dooku were moving around the spire with precision and grace, both of them elite duelists, and Windu was sunken into Vapad to counter Dooku's darkness. The two of them locked their sabers, making eye contact, as Dooku said that he would have preferred to do this all by Windu's side, but the Jedi are blind. He quickly shot lightning, hitting Windu in the shoulder, as the Jedi Master flipped away, telling Dooku perhaps he is right, but he would never be weak enough to join the dark side. Up on the balcony, Grievous was crawling across the ceiling as Fisto readied himself to finish this. Grievous dropped down with both lightsabers ignited, but Fisto was able to roll under him, slicing through Grievous's legs. The droid general fell to the floor. Fisto turned around, stabbing Grievous through his exposed heart and lungs, then turned to see Windu and Dooku in their duel. After a terribly long fight, Dooku was able to kick Windu to the wall. Dooku felt like he finally had him, so he spun at Windu with his full speed, ready to do what he must. Windu acted like he was dazed, and so as Dooku swung at his head, Windu ducked and quickly sliced right through Dooku's abdomen. The Sith apprentice became overconfident. Dooku's eyes went wide, and he fell into Windu's arms. He looked like he wanted to speak, but he fell dead as Windu laid him down. He would have loved to take Dooku in alive, but that was never truly going to be an option. He would say goodbye to his friend, and he rescued Palpatine as he and Fisto made their escape with the Chancellor. Palpatine would debate with himself about many different plans. It was all going very wrong right now, and as they all ran through the ship, Palpatine asked where Skywalker was. Windu thought this was a strange question, but he told the Chancellor he was on Mandalore dealing with Maul. Of course, Palpatine thought. Maul continued to be a thorn in his side. But Palpatine now had a plan. He waited until the ship rocked heavily. Then he pretended to stumble over and subtly used the Force to rip down the ceiling, separating him from Windu and Fisto. Palpatine would run to the escape pods, and by the time that Windu and Fisto cleared the debris, Palpatine was gone. The Chancellor got to an escape pod, ejecting all of them, setting course for the industrial sector, where he had a hidden shuttle always waiting for him. He knew where he had to go. And so back on Mandalore, the siege was lasting longer than the battle above Coruscant. By the time Anakin finally came face to face with Maul as he waited for him in the throne room, Rex, Bo-Katan, her loyalists, and the 501st were going all in on fighting the Mandalorians. Anakin would finally see Maul, meeting him, slowly walking up to him. Maul looked down on Anakin, chuckling, saying it's so good to finally meet the Chosen One, in a very mocking tone. Anakin looked Maul up and down, remarking that after so many defeats, he should just settle down and retire. This might not be for him. Maul thought very highly of himself, so being reminded that he lost the two most important lightsaber duels of his life didn't exactly bring him comfort. He stood up, telling Anakin he was hoping to lure him here. He is going to kill him, rob Darth Sidious of his most prized pupil. Anakin told Maul he came here to speak with him. He told Maul that very recently, he had a vision of himself turning to the dark side. Thousands of Jedi lightsabers blinking out, and only he remained. Maul was shocked by this. The two of them shared this dream. Maul would tell Anakin now that he had the exact same dream. They both wondered now why the Force connected the two of them, and Maul thought that perhaps his destiny was not to kill the Chosen One, at least not yet, but instead to join him, kill Darth Sidious, rid the galaxy of the Sith taking over the Force, and perhaps the two of them can rise up instead. Maul could feel Anakin's power, but also his hidden darkness. Perhaps if he joins Anakin, fights Sidious, he can goad Anakin to use the dark side, and they can take the place of the Sith. So Maul would tell Anakin to join him. Together they can defeat Sidious. But Anakin wasn't so convinced. He, of course, asked who Sidious really was. Why would he ever join Sidious? And Maul laughed, saying Anakin still doesn't see it, but he has been groomed for his role for a long time as the new apprentice to Sidious. In fact, the entire war has been orchestrated by Sidious to bring Anakin to his side and take down the Jedi. Anakin considered this, then realized who Maul must be talking about. Palpatine. And Anakin ignited his lightsaber, telling Maul that Palpatine is not evil. He will not let Maul turn him against an old friend, a man who has been a mentor and a father figure to him. Maul would stand up now, telling Anakin he is a fool just like the rest of the Jedi if he cannot see past Palpatine's disguise. If he refuses to see the truth, then he is of no use to him. He will die today. Both Sidious and Kenobi will lose their student. Maul ignited both sides of his blade, but before he could spin into battle, the doors swung open, and Darth Sidious slowly entered, his hood still covering his face. But it didn't matter. Anakin could feel that this was Palpatine, and he felt as if his world just shattered. Maul was telling the truth. He yelled at Palpatine that he is a traitor, and Palpatine removed his hood, telling Anakin he sees all of this the wrong way. His goal is peace for the Republic. That is all he has ever wanted, but in order to achieve this peace, the weak parts of the Republic must be eradicated. The time of the Jedi has ended, and he reached out a hand, asking Anakin to join him in his quest to bring peace. Anakin thought of Padme, Obi-Wan, Ahsoka, and his other friends in the Republic, and he knew what he had to do. Palpatine saw that Anakin would not be joining him, and he accepted this. The reason he came here was to ensure that the two largest threats to the Empire, Anakin and Maul, were dealt with. If Anakin won't join him, so be it. He could not risk Anakin joining up with Maul. And Sidious ignited his two red blades. There were no sides here. All three of the fighters knew that only one of them was walking out of here alive. Across the galaxy on Coruscant, Windu, Fisto, Kenobi, and Ahsoka all survived and returned to the temple without Palpatine. The Jedi informed the Senate that Palpatine seems to have died in the battle above space, and effective immediately, they will be taking over the Senate. Many suspected that the Jedi played a part in the death of Palpatine, but the large majority of the Senate accepted this. The battle above Coruscant woke up the Republic to see how violent this conflict truly was. Most of the war took place in the Outer Rim, while senators just profited off of all of it. But after seeing a battle on Coruscant, Many wanted to just end this war quickly as possible, and the Jedi were the best way of doing that. But for Palpatine, this was the best case scenario. He could return, say the Jedi tried to kill him on the invisible hand, and then execute Order 66. But first, he would have to kill his enemies, and the Grand Hall of the Mandalore Palace would quickly erupt into chaos as Anakin, Sidious, and Maul moved in on each other. Red and blue sabers were moving through the air as they were all aiming at each other. Anakin fought with a blend of raw power and perfect technique through years of training, while also incorporating some lessons of defense from Obi-Wan. Sidious wielded his dual red blades with a dark roar, his movements both fluid and deceptively swift, catching Anakin very off guard as he only knew Palpatine as the kind old man. Maul would attack with a feral intensity, his double-bladed lightsaber spinning as he aimed to kill his former master and the former Padawan of Kenobi. The floor trembled and cracked under the force of their battle as lightsabers cut into the walls and the floors as none of the fighters could gain an upper hand, each strike sending shockwaves through the stone around them. The building was rocking, the windows shattered from the huge battle outside. Anakin leapt over Sidious's low sweeping strike, allowing Maul to move in and swing at Sidious's head, as he blocked Maul with one blade, and Anakin brought his blade down in a powerful arc that Sidious barely parried with the other blade. Sidious then leapt high in the air, landing by the throne, and Maul, seizing the opportunity, lunged at Anakin from behind, but the Jedi twisted midair, kicking Maul away while blocking a new attack from Sidious. Sparks were flying around, lightsabers collided again and again, illuminating the dark corners of the hall with bursts of violent light. The three of them continued to move against each other, and Sidious unleashed a torrent of force lightning towards Anakin, who intercepted it with his lightsaber, the energy crackling, hissing against the blade, and Maul surged forward, his saber spinning as he aimed a devastating strike at Sidious, who deflected it with one hand, using the other to maintain his assault on Anakin. The sheer intensity of the battle began to take its toll on the palace. Walls were crackling, debris was raining down from the ceiling, the structure was falling apart under the strain of their powers, along with the battle outside. And as the fight drew near its end, the three of them found themselves locked in a triangular deadlock. Lightsabers crossed, eyes blazing with intensity. For a moment, the world seemed to hold its breath. Palpatine smiled, breaking off, hitting Maul with enough lightning to send him flying out of the window, while throwing one saber at Skywalker. It cut very deep into Anakin's thigh, and he stumbled to the floor, deflecting more lightning until the power made him lose his grip, and the lightning sent him crashing into the wall. Anakin looked up, skin burning, and Palpatine stopped the lightning, preparing now to kill Anakin. And from the window, Maul climbed back up and saw what was about to happen. So he made a choice. Sidious always won, but he would not win today. And as Sidious lunged at Anakin, Maul flew through the air, calling Sidious's other saber to his hand, and he got in front of Sidious's stab on Anakin. Sidious instead would plunge his saber through Maul's chest, as Maul ignited his saber through Sidious's jaw, chewing up through his head. And as Maul fell dead, he finally felt some peace in his life, as Sidious's body fell next to his. Anakin fell against the wall, breathing heavily, ears ringing, vision blurred, and he soon would see Rex and his men run in and begin carrying Anakin to the medical bay aboard the Venators. Bo-Katan and the 501st won back Mandalore from its horrible rule under Maul and Gar Saxon, and Anakin was the lone survivor of the duel with Sidious and Maul. The clones would be unable to identify the body of Palpatine because of the way Maul killed him, ruining his face, but Anakin would tell them to discard of the bodies, saying it was just Maul and another warrior by his side. Upon returning to Coruscant, Anakin would inform the Council of everything. Windu and Fisto would see now how Palpatine disappeared from their rescue. It was always a ploy to bring Anakin to him. But with Palpatine dead, the Jedi could still keep their story about him dying in the battle above Coruscant, and within days, the war would be wrapped up as the Separatist leaders were arrested alone on Utapau. Anakin would never have nightmares of Padme dying, so when the war ended, he was able to peacefully take time away from the Order and be with her as she gave birth. Ahsoka would never return to the Order, and instead would live near Padme on Naboo, helping raise the children along with Padme's family, while Padme was in the Senate, and Anakin became a council master. It was a good system for all, and the Republic was being turned around to be rebuilt as it was during its best days with the Jedi. And folks, that is our story for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. It was very lightsaber heavy, and I usually save you know, the one climactic lightsaber battle to the very end, and there was still one at the very end of this one, but I really wanted to do something where a different pair of Jedi kind of get to Sidious and Dooku aboard the Invisible Hand, and usually when I do that in these stories, either Palpatine helps kill the Jedi, or, you know, it just doesn't go that well. But I wanted to do Windu and Fisto, as I think they could beat the respective Dooku and Grievous. I think, you know, Dooku would call upon Grievous to help in this moment. Let me know what you guys thought of all of that. Overall, I think the timeline pretty much made sense. I'm always stretching time a little bit in these to make it all work. But yeah, Sidious showing back up and rematching Maul in the Mandalore Palace, this time with Anakin by his side instead of Savage. Not actually by his side, the two of them were also trying to kill each other. But anyways, Maul sacrificing himself in the end to ensure Sidious doesn't win is just, you know, ultimate revenge. Maul will do anything for revenge, even if it costs his own life, which it did in this moment. So let me know what you guys thought. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you want to see next. Next video will be probably on Monday. So yeah, check it out, and I'll see you in the next video.